You mentioned Jaylen Carter. Obviously, he didn't the spitting thing. What kind of difference do you think that makes for them and going against him?
No, it's a big difference. He's a really good player, again, he's packaged in there with some really good players, and Jordan, Davis is obviously an incredible player as well, and you got Jaylen Phillips. I mean, the front, this is a hell of a defense. I think they're best in the league. I think, and again, it's going to be really, really tough, but we love that challenge, and we think we're pretty good too.
John Machado with The Athletic. Jaylen Phillips, what have you seen from him in the couple games that they've had?
Yeah, long. Long. Really good pass rush tools, really good motor, but it's the size and the length that creates the problems. He's hard to stay blocked because he's slippery. He gets off blocks very well, and he can affect the quarterback because he's got a really cool assortment of pass rush moves that he uses. And I don't know him, but it looks like he's a guy that studies a lot of film because you see him counter and take a strength of a player and kind of use it against him. And I think anytime you see a former coach like Vic that was around him in Miami, and then you go trade for that guy, there was a reason that Vic stood on the table and said, "Hey, I want Jaylen Phillips here," and I think he's proven why Vic felt so strongly about it, and he's reason he's a high first-round pick.
And then when you're figuring out what guys you're going to have active during the game at running back, what makes the difference when you go with a Malik Davis over a Jaden Blue?
Yeah, it's really everything. When you get to sometimes that second and third back, and we're carrying a little heavy at some other positions, whether it's linebacker or corners or defensive linemen. You're a little bit short in some areas, but it really is. It's really both phases. It's offense and special teams, and so Malik's done an incredible job since he got back, and he's a personal protector. He's doing a great job. I think he's on 3 of the 4 core special teams units, and he's running well. And he and Jaden will continue to compete, but right now, when you're looking at the two, it's like that's where Jaden's got to understand, until you're the guy, which at some point, hopefully, he is the guy, that you got to be able to impact the game other ways. And I think he understands that. Jaden's learning a lot about this league, and again, I think he's always going to continue to compete and put his best foot forward, and then doesn't have to like the decision if it goes against him to play someone else, but he's got to make sure he's always prepared to go play.
Tommy Arsh, DallasCowboys.com. How are Solomon Thomas and Trayvon Diggs progressing through their injuries?
Good. Solly's making progress. Again, we'll know more, not really today, probably tomorrow. And Trey, again, all signs are that he's doing everything he's supposed to do. And so, again, positive reports on both those guys.
And then the young corners they've gotten, Mitchell and DeJean, where have you, from last year to the first game this year, and then over the course of the year so far, where have you seen them kind of grow?
Yeah, I'll talk about Mitchell first. I just, very high on him, very good cover corner, physical, patient. He understands that there's a time clock that the offense has to work with because they're good at disrupting and affecting the quarterback. But I think the coverage skills, you've seen the growth. You've seen him improve and get better. And I think he's got a chance to be a star in this league and trending that way. And then the versatility of Cooper DeJean is what they love about him. The guy plays corner and base. He plays nickel. He plays all kinds of things. He's a very good blitzer. The football instincts is off the chart. He's got a knack for the ball. And there's nothing new. They've done a great job of drafting and getting these guys and develop them. And I think they've done a great job with those two guys for sure.
Scott Dixon with the AP. What's your sense of whether there's any kind of new range of emotions with the first home game without Marshawn versus having already played one game without?
Yeah, again, I think, we're getting used to Skylar, the new norm. I think we're, this will be, a chance for us to honor him at home. I believe there's some things that we're going to do for his family. Again, my job as the coach is to make sure our guys are not caught off guard with anything. So whatever we are planning as we finalize some things, I'll make sure that they know and they're aware of that. But again, whether we play home or away, we're going to honor Marshawn ourselves with the way we play and our play style, and whether we have a moment of silence or we don't, or whether we introduce members of his family or we don't, moving forward for the rest of the year and beyond. He's always going to be out there with us to honor.
You mentioned the new normal. Are you sensing that, feeling that this week?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. My assistant, Laura, came in today, and I was blaring my music in my office, and I'm a big music guy, and she kind of was tongue in cheek, kind of being silly, but she's like, it's great to see you playing your music loud and whatnot. And so that kind of made me chuckle because I'm feeling more back to myself.
Joe.
Joe Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. You guys obviously invested a lot of resources in your defensive line. The Eagles have had a really good defensive line. From a play calling standpoint, just how much of a problem does having interior defensive lines like the Eagles have and you guys have now present to an offensive play caller?
Yeah, it's hard just because, when you try to, run the ball up the middle, it's hard, and what these guys do a great job of on both sides, whether you're talking about, Jordan Davis, Jaylen Carter, whether you're talking about Quinnen, Osa, Kenny, Solly, whatever, they put the pressure on the offensive line to feel like they have to use combination blocks. Well, then when the linebackers, which, again, Philly's got, Zach and 17, what's his name? Sorry. Yeah, great player. Dean, great player. Those guys, they come downhill fast, and then, Campbell, the rookie. They put the pressure on you because when they fire into their gaps, you can't stay on the singles or the double teams, and the singles become, and they get split. But I think it's really a problem. It's a problem on both sides, and it's what you want. You want to have a firm and strong front seven, and they have definitely shown to be able to do that.
You talked about Jaylen yesterday. As a coach, when you challenge a guy to do something, you see the things happen in practice and then it shows up in the game. What does that do for you?
Yeah, it's exciting. You use it to talk to the other players. Like, let's talk about, Jaden again for a sec. Hey, look at what Kalen's done. And, I told you guys yesterday or the day before, we challenged Kalen a couple weeks ago about the urgency. And I think that's part of it. But, maximize your opportunities. And Kalen, again, his first reason that he was activated and put up was because of special teams. And he did that. And then he kept doing a great job in practice and going against guys and making plays out there in practice. And so he earned the right. And then, like everyone, I tell my kids all the time, when given an opportunity, you got to maximize the opportunity. And he did that, on Monday night. And so, therefore, he's earned more playing time. And that's real. And, again, I think that it's a great teaching tool for all your young players.
Garrett.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Hey, Brian. Your offense has done a pretty strong job getting Javonte Williams the ball in the run game, then feeding CD and George Pickens. A lot of talk with Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, and their two wide receivers. It doesn't look like they've been on the same page as they were on last year. Kind of what are you seeing from Jalen Hurts and kind of how their offenses function this year?
I've just watched a few of the games. I think, it's Jalen's an incredible player. He can beat you throwing. He can beat you running. We have to do a great job of keeping him in the pocket. We learned that in the last game. We knew that in the last game, but he can extend plays. I think you could put their two receivers up there, with Devontae and AJ against anybody in the league. They're very, very talented. And so at any moment they can strike. They're explosive. Then you mix in the runner, who's arguably the best, if not one of the best in the league, in Saquon. You got tight ends, and then you got the offensive line. So, again, I think, everybody finds their flow at different times, and this is a tough league. And at the end of the day, I'm not looking at the film and saying, man, these guys are struggling. I'm looking at this film and saying, man, these guys are dangerous.
And how much can the addition of Quinnen Williams help keep Jalen Hurts in the pocket, because obviously he didn't have him in that first match? Yeah,
again, he's going to impact, the quarterback in different ways. But, again, it's going to come down to our rush lane discipline, our eyes and things like that. And, again, you're kind of, you're caught because when he gets out, he's got the ability to beat you throwing the ball or running the ball. And but, again, I think, we were able to look at the game, and talk about some different answers and things like that to try to contain him. But he's hard to contain.
And Christy
Scales, Cowboys Radio 105.3 The Fan. With Philly, I know the tush push gets a lot of the attention, but it seems like their approach, like going for it on fourth down so much, they're really not very good on the third down conversion statistically. But this is kind of an overall question. I think we see it with Philly's approach. And I wonder if you see it not just for yourself, but throughout the league and college, where now, as a play caller, you're calling for 4 downs and not like conceding that if you don't get it on third, that conceding a punt.
Yeah, that's real. I think it's much more in vogue now. Again, I don't want to say the Dan Campbell effect because it's been guys were going for it for fourth down, but I think it's definitely in vogue now that you can look at it and say, okay, based on field position where we are, how you feel about your calls. The thought is it's kind of 4 down in our mind as a play caller until it's not, until you put yourself either by field position you're way backed up or it's third and really, really long, But I know, we went into the game last one, we, went for it on fourth down. I knew that was going to be a situation we were going to go for it on fourth down, so I was comfortable with the third down call. The touchdown to Fergie, knew we were going to go for it on fourth down if we didn't get in, and that helps. The problem is when you don't think that way and then it's fourth down and let's say it's third and long and you hit a pass on 3rd and 13 or 14 for 11 or 12 yards and it's on you quick, you're like, it's a little bit harder because you weren't planning on doing it. So sometimes it's like, what do I want to do here? And that's, you got to go with your gut instincts a little bit on that.
If I could just follow up on
Sure.
that, because when you say in vogue, sometimes that's fad, but do you think that's just something that's kind of temporary? Or you just see that, like for the long haul, like moving forward, that this is going to
I think everything's cyclical. I think it'll change at some point. I mean, there's people that are old school. I'm probably more actually old school than some, but I do think that, it's, we don't sit there and read a book and say, okay, hey, that says this is a 65% chance we need to, go for it. We don't do that. We trust our instincts. I'm in constant communication with Ryan Feeder, but again, a lot of it comes down to the type of game it is or the type of game you think it's going to be. And, again, in that situation, the reason I was so committed to going for it was that if we didn't get it, I thought we would, and we did, but if we didn't get it, I was very comfortable putting our defense out there knowing that they would have had to go 96 yards or whatever it was. That's all part of the process that you go into.
Anybody else? Good?
Thanks, guys.